Bonsoir les amis, this is Llyane Stanfield and you can find me at ParisianFrench.com. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted because the screen looks completely differently and I hope that I'm live. And today I would like to ask you a question. Do you know all the verbs that you need in conversation? Let me just fix this a little bit because I think, yeah, that's a little better. So do you know all the verbs that you need for conjugation, for your conversation? Do you have troubles finding your verbs? Do you have trouble conjugating your verbs? So today I would like to give you top 10 verbs, the 10 verbs that you need in order to make conversation, your first, second, third, the first conversations, right? Because the first one is going to be a little wobbly, and then you figure out how to pull things together, how to put the words together, and the verbs and the conjugation is something that a lot of people may find that it's a little tricky. So I'm going to give you the 10 verbs that you need in order to make conversation in the beginning, or if you want to brush up your conversation. These are the 10 verbs that you definitely need. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a little trick to always know what verb to choose. What are actually all the verbs that you, as like, you know, very customized, as in like you as a person, not you as a group. I know there are a lot of people watching this video, but you as a person, one by one. See, how can you decide for yourself what are the best verbs to actually focus on, learn to conjugate and use in conversation? That's a tip that I'm going to give at the end of the video. And please remember that the French transcript of this video is can be found in the Parisian French Conversationalist Facebook group, and the link is going to be underneath this video at the end of the video as soon as I finish it. Okay, so I'm going to give you the list of the verbs. I'm going to conjugate as much as needed, not everything. I'm going to give you the conjugation so you can practice with this video. And also don't forget that on Sunday I'm going to have one of the videos, one of the webinars, Français Sunday, when I'm going to give you a crash course. So this is going to be the crash course. It's going to be probably in half an hour and 50 minutes, depending on the questions that you guys are going to ask me. But it will be a full crash course. Do not miss. This is not going to be available elsewhere, so not on Facebook. So everything's going to be pulled together into a crash course live, so you can ask me questions right there and then. To find out about this, go to Parisian French. The link is above, ParisianFrench.com, and subscribe to the newsletter, and that's how you're going to find the time and it's everything that you need to know in order to access the crash course. It's going to I always offer a certain bonus, and I would like to also give a little an additional gift only to people who are who come to the webinar. Excellent. So now the 10 verbs. If you have a pen and pencil, a pen and a pad, paper, please write them down, because those are the verbs that are the most commonly used verbs that you definitely need to know. So, avoir, to have, être, to be, faire, to do or to make, aller, to go, pouvoir, to be able to, prendre, to take, voir, to see, finir, to finish, vouloir, to want, and manger, to eat. Now, except for manger, that does have a little bit of a pronunciation little trick there. But except for manger, everything else is irregular. Oh, and finir. Finir is also a regular verb. before I start conjugating a little bit, not everything, it's going to take like forever to do that, but I'm going to conjugate something, what you actually need. I want to give you also the verbs that represent the regular groups of verbs. So we have three groups in verbs in French. First group is made of regular verbs that end in ER. The second group, regular verbs that end in IR. And the third group, regular verbs that end in RE and only regular verbs. The first group of regular verbs ending in ER is represented by the verb aimer, to like or love. The second group, that is, one second, I have to do something here. All right. The second group of verbs, regular verbs ending in IR, represented by the verb finir. The third group of regular verbs ending on in RE is represented by rendre. Finir is to finish and rendre to give back. Now I'm going to conjugate avoir in the present tense, être in the present tense, and aller in the present tense for reasons, for very good reasons. Avoir and être are auxiliary verbs for past tense. So I do recommend that you focus on present, past tense, and future, but future, not futur simple, which is a little tricky because of the roots in irregular verbs. But I would like you to focus to learn futur proche, which is the direct translation of the English I'm going to do, for instance, I'm going to take. And that's the one that I recommend for the first conversations. And in the meantime, you practice your futur simple and start to include it in conversation, but start with futur proche. So let me conjugate and then I'll explain it more. Avoir. J'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. Être. Je suis, tu es, il est, elle est, nous sommes, vous êtes, ils sont, elles sont. And aller. Je vais, tu vas, il va, elle va, nous allons, vous allez, ils vont, elles vont. So I'm going to give you an example with the other verbs at past tense right now. So avoir in the past tense is j'ai eu. Être, I'm not going to conjugate everything. Être in the past tense, j'ai été. Faire in the past tense, j'ai fait. Aller, however, conjugates with être. Je suis allé. That's why I want you to have être in the present tense, known at all persons. Pouvoir, j'ai pu. Prendre, j'ai pris. Voir, j'ai vu. Finir, j'ai fini. Vouloir, j'ai voulu. And manger, j'ai mangé. I gave you this so that you get the past participle. So past tense is made out of the auxiliary, which is avoir, être, that I gave you an example of, and past participle, that little part of the past tense that stays the same in all the verbs. I'm not going to go into the agreement that is necessary for the verbs conjugated with être yet. I mean, this has to finish somewhere, so I can't go into much depth here, but come to the crash course and I'm going to go in depth there. Okay, so that's the past tense. Now, futur proche. So futur proche is really very handy because it's directly translatable to the English I'm going to do something. So I'm going to give you again, just so that you see how simple it is, for all these 10 verbs, except for aller. So for all these 10 verbs, just because I don't like to use je vais aller, but that's, I just gave it to you, okay? So, the futur proche for these 10 verbs. So, je vais avoir, I'm going to have. Tu vas être, je vais être, I'm going to be. Je vais faire, I'm going to do. Je vais aller, I'm going to go. Je vais pouvoir, that's probably rarely used, but I'm going to be able to. Je vais prendre, I'm going to take. Je vais voir, I'm going to see. Je vais finir, I'm going to finish. Je vais vouloir, I'm going to want. And je vais manger, I'm going to eat. That is all you need to know for the first conversations. However, as I promised at the beginning of this little video, you as a personal choice, each of us have certain speech patterns. And in order to find out what are the verbs, rather than asking someone, everybody's creating. I mean, remember, speech is not math. Not everybody uses the same words. It's creative, or it should be creative, very highly personal, and creative again, okay? Because it is. I mean, we all express ourselves. We each are different. The language is like a fingerprint. It should be that way. To make it so, and so that you're more and more comfortable and confident in your conversation, you should know what verbs you tend to use. So in order to do that, to find out that, go for, write on a piece of paper, a page or two, however long it can be half a page, it doesn't really matter, but it should be longer than that. What would you tell to someone about yourself, like a stranger? You meet a stranger, hi, how are you, my name is, whatever, in French, bonjour, mon nom est blah, Llyane, bonjour, mon nom est Llyane, comment allez-vous, quel est votre nom? And then you tell your story, right? Oh, I'm coming from, I live in Canada, Toronto, I immigrated there 20-some years ago, and I have a dog, and all those things that you talk about you. I mean, my story is completely different than yours. So write your story on a piece of paper, what it is that you would tell a stranger first time you meet. I mean, your basic print. And write it down. Write it down in English, not in French. You don't need to get off because you may not be able to translate. That's not the point. The point is what's the content of your story. And write it down. Imagine though a conversation. Don't make it like a novel, because we could, right? And don't make it so and so, you know, my age is that and my hair is brown. Just make it, like I said, about a page or two. And then once you wrote what's something that you're happy with, go back and underline and find your verbs. Those are the verbs that you naturally use or tend to use. And those are the verbs that then you go to becherel.com and find the conjugation for those verbs. So other than those 10, find out what other verbs you tend to use, okay? Of course, there is top 20, top 100. I just don't want to go that big because it's overwhelming. I really want you to focus on, you know, do less better. Do less better. And focus on the clarity of your conversation, of your communication. Make sure that what the person in front of you hears is what you actually wanted to say. And that's what, you know, connection is created. So I hope that this helped you, and I'm looking forward to your questions in the comments below. Please ask me questions, and I'm looking forward to having you on the webinar on Sunday. So go to ParisianFrench.com and subscribe there. Don't ever give up on your dream to become bilingual. Learn to speak Parisian French on Skype and travel the world. Merci beaucoup et à demain. Au revoir.